Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first episode of the Modzu Hangout for the year 2017. And we're hoping that it's not going to be anywhere near as controversial as last year, I guess would be the best way to put it. This time around, we're going to be discussing the best and worst of last year, which, again, as I said previously, was a bit controversial for many, many reasons. I didn't really think that there was too much, earth-shaking in the tech industries, but there was still some fun things to complain about and fun things to chat up. So joining me this week, we've got Bill Owen.
Hey everybody, it's good to be back. Hope you had a good holiday break and Happy New Year.
Yes, Happy New Year. And we also have Chris, our modding Modsquito.
Welcome to 2017, the year that I get to at least have another year to do the projects I didn't do in 2016.
Yeah, luckily we're all alive here into the first day of 2017.
I haven't left the house yet, so playing it safe. And I've been pretty much in the basement all day. That's where my wood shop is. So
that sounds like a good safe plan, man. I don't know how long you're gonna be able to hold out though.
Well, I've got plenty of water.
Although you did already have an injury today.
I did. It happens. And I didn't even cut myself with a tool. It was the wood that was the problem, not the tools. Oh, well, what do you do?
Well, okay, so it is the first day of 2017. So it's kind of a cliche of an episode to do the best and the worst of 2016, but I think that we need to perform an exorcism of some ghosts that are still lingering from 2016 today with everybody. And in the chat, let us know what was that thing. And at this point, it could be anything from 2016 that drove you crazy, disappointed you. And then towards the later half of the Hangout, we'll talk about all the new positive things to look forward to in 2017 and some good things from 2016. So we'll be watching the chat window for your posts in there. Now, a few weeks ago, I started a thread on the modzu.com community forums just asking everybody to post their PC hardware, modding, cooling, or software-related best of worst or worst of 2016. And three big things came up that were discussed the most. Number one, RGB lighting, as I teased earlier today in the video. And then number two, tempered glass side panels, huge thing in 2016, and will continue to be this year. And you know what? My prediction is we're going to see even more companies jump on that bandwagon. And then thirdly was M2 drives on motherboards, which is really cool because we're saving space while collecting more space, right? The only nag about that is that they don't look cool enough. Some people thought, well, maybe we should do a cool heat sink on them or some type of cover for an M2 drive. What do you think about that, Moss? Do you think there should be some potential modding there of M.2 mods kind of a thing? Or
why not?
Yeah.
I mean, I think to my eye, the like Samsung, like the 960s and 950s, well, no, I guess 960s and 970s, whatever, the Samsung ones, probably about the only ones that I wouldn't want to put a cover over, like, because those are the ones that are all black. And I feel like if your M.2 drive is green, then we should probably have a talk about why it's just sitting out in the open on your otherwise good-looking mod. Like, right. You know, if you're going to go through the effort of color matching all your cables and your tubing and your fittings and your fluid, what the hell is that thing doing? I mean, I've done it before too, where it's just like, well, I didn't do anything to any of the components, so I'm just going to leave it that way. And then you look at it and you're like, oh, it's green.
Yeah. Insolent Gnome, also known as Dave Cathy in the Modzu forum, he said that I made one for my last build out of aluminum, nothing special, but it looks 1,000 times better than the factory version. And I did just a kind of a casual search, and there is a couple of companies on eBay that are selling heat sinks for your M.2 drives. You know, would you say that they're worth putting a heatsink on?
I've honestly never used an M.2 except for in my Nook build, so I'm not too well practiced. But I mean, I don't. A heatsink maybe. I've seen the water blocks for them. I mean, the Intel 750 is a completely different animal because that's not an M.2 SSD. That's a PCI SSD. But like, I think we had a discussion. I don't remember what episode that was on, but one of our hangouts we were talking about water blocks for M.2 drives, and that to me seems a little excessive.
Aqua Computer, you gotta admit though, it looks cool.
It does. It does. But I mean, that's a bit like water cooling your hard drives, you know? It's like,
you sounded like Graham.
I don't know. It's not that I mean, okay, let me say, first of all, if you feel like doing it, go for it. But I don't think I would spend the money on it personally.
All right. Well, and we're talking about Aqua Computer, which is the most expensive component manufacturer from Germany out in the market. It's pretty much Aqua Computer, and then Heat Killer.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. You know, here's the thing, and when I shared that the other day in our staff Skype chat, and Graham's one of our staffers that hasn't done his own loop yet. Okay, he's used all-in-ones. There's nothing wrong with that, although I've given him lots of shit about that. And what I like about Graham is he takes the shit. He's really cool about it. But I knew as soon as I posted that picture of that Aqua Computer M.2 cooler that Graham would react to it. And of course, he laughed out loud. And my reaction is, and I know you guys in the chat window can agree, yes, it's overkill, but it's fun. It's fun to build these systems and have cool gadgets like that. I mean, if you can afford it, why not, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, actually, what I'm kind of waiting to see isn't so much more water cooling for things like that, but I'd like to see the stylized aluminum blocks that will blend in more with your main board. Like I can just glance over at my Gigabyte mainboard, and it's got one of those large Southbridge multi-fin blue anodized, really nice looking cooler on there, but it doesn't really do much other than just soak everything off for ambient relief. And I don't think you need much more than that for the current range of NVMe drives. But in the future, you never know, because they're going to be jamming those things up to multiple terabyte, and it's not going to be long before that happens.
All right.
Yeah. I was just going to say, I'd probably be more on board if you didn't have to stick it in that stupid adapter. Like, that's my biggest thing, is you get a water block that's like the size of a universal GPU water block, because you're sticking the NVMe drive into a PCIe adapter and then putting the water block on it. So,
oh, but what about those ones that are actually sitting in between the two PCI slots for the NVMe slot?
I haven't seen any water blocks for those. The other ones that I've seen, the Aqua Computer one is the one that it's not a PCI SSD, it's a PCIe adapter for your M.2, so you can put a water block on it.
All right, now
dear.
Let me ask you this, Moss. Moss, if I drop shipped one to you as a belated birthday gift, would you use it?
Probably not, because the size of the system.
He lies. You are lying. You would too.
The size of the systems that I build are usually ITX, so I'd have to be sacrificing a graphics card in order to use it. But if I was going to be building a larger system, then I probably would.
It'd be a waste of money to send you one because you're never going to build a large system.
Well, probably not.
There's no way. So now let's talk about the tempered glass thing. You know, and this is something that, Moss, you've had experience with InWin products before a lot of other people, because you were reviewing their products early on. This, next wave of InWin ultra sexy chassis designs. And I remember when we opened up the D-Frame Mini, which had the tempered glass side panels, super uber sexy, cool. What is your opinion about tempered glass? What do you like about it? And is there something would you always want to use it if you could, or what?
I think I have probably two main things when it comes to tempered glass. One is that keep it on the side panel, the component side panel. Keep it off the back side panel.
Yeah.
And this obviously goes to manufacturers because, whatever. It's like, just why do I don't even care. Like, usually you just stuff your wires behind the motherboard tray, zip them up so that they look decent so you can actually fit the panel on. Like, I don't really want to see all that crap. But, I mean,
Dave is laughing in the chat because he's the one that said that.
Really?
Well, what's the point of having it on both sides? Yeah.
Exactly. It just adds weight and expense. The only thing it does is balance out the case from a weight standpoint if you're carrying it. But,
right. And who's going to bring their tempered glass PC to LAN events and shit?
Well, maybe. I mean, if it was like a D-frame mini, I think those ones would probably be something you bring to a LAN, just because why would you spend $350 to $600 on a case and then not bring it to a LAN? But I don't know. The thing that I like about them is that you're not going to scratch them. I mean, you're not going to accidentally scratch them unless you have one hell of an accident. It's a lot more clear to me than any acrylic side panel, short of something that's brand new. But it seems like 5 minutes after you peel the paper off, you already start seeing specks of dust everywhere, and that's the thing that I really like about the glass is it's a lot more clear and it stays clear.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I talked to Jim Weiss from Clockwork Industries about this on Twitter. Is that I've been getting these inquiries if we would make tempered glass side panel for somebody's case. Like, hey, I've got a Fantex Primo. Would you do glass instead of acrylic? Well, like most people, I don't have the resources to cut glass here, or let alone thread glass.
Well, especially tempered. Like you could pretty easily pull it off if you're just doing standard glass, but tempered glass is a whole different animal. And a lot of places that do glass, it's way more expensive to get tempered glass in the first place. Mm-hmm. Like, I did a shadow box where I was using glass shelves, and I wanted to get tempered glass just in case. So I went to a glass shop, and they're like, oh yeah, it'll be, well, first there was a misunderstanding because the person that was helping me with the order and stuff didn't quite know the system. And so the book said that it was a certain price. It was like $9 a square foot or something like that. Plus, and then it also said a minimum of $35. So we figured, hey, that's a minimum of $35 order. No, that turned out to be a minimum of $35 per piece. So it was like, holy balls. And that was if you didn't want any grinding for the edges and any profiles or holes or anything. So I think it would be interesting to be able to make your own, but I don't know that it'd be very cost effective.
No, I don't even really know of any resources here in Minnesota that I could go to if people just continue to want it. And we've been doing acrylic side clear panels since 2010, and we ship a lot of stuff overseas, so I'd have to reevaluate just how I ship them without them getting broken, because they go through so many hands when it goes overseas. So, yeah, Drew, what is your thoughts about tempered glass?
I predict in this coming year we're going to see RGB tempered glass.
Yeah. Well, look at that one Inwind chassis that's got the RGB front glass panel on the bezel, right? What's that one?
The Infinity. It's the 805 Infinity or something like that.
Yeah, and personally, I'm not a big fan, other than, if you really, really, really want to have that showpiece setup, you want to have that extra clarity and you want to play with lighting. That's where tempered glass, I think, is really going to have its strengths over the next few years. Yes, it's going to saturate everything just the same way RGB did, but you're going to see a few people get their hands on it, and they're really going to do some fantastic stuff to show it off in hopefully unique ways. I don't want to see it kind of just become cheap plexiglass, but more expensive. You know what I mean? I don't want to see too many cases that are all tempered glass, because eventually we're going to have a public demonstration of somebody accidentally driving a microphone stand through somebody's $3,000 case, and that's just going to shoot any future plans for that being a thing to be sold later on down the line. I don't want to see that happen.
The other thing with tempered glass too is manufacturers are going to have to be careful, and anybody that buys one is going to have to be careful to pay attention of how they mount to the case, because if they don't have some sort of a mechanism to stop the thumb screws from tightening down too far, tempered glass doesn't crack. Like if you squeeze it too hard because you put the thumb screws in too tight, that shit just explodes. It goes everywhere.
Oh, it literally shatters and disintegrates.
Yeah.
And what you reminded me of, because this, the RGB bandwagon and the tempered glass side panel bandwagon, a lot of these manufacturers rush to get a variation of an existing chassis, a glass side panel on it. And so what do? Well, how can we quickly add threaded holes to the side and 4 thumb screws so you can just screw it on? And in my opinion, that's cheesy as fuck. That's cheesy.
Especially when they ignore very important things when you have an all clear side panel, like the edges of all the pieces. It's like, if you're going to put an all clear panel, at least spend a little bit more time to make the edges that you're going to be showing a little bit more refined.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's true. Okay. So those are the things that people were kind of split on. Now, another worst of 2016 is big GPUs that sag. People, I made a shit ton of money in 2016 selling you my GPU support brackets. I thank you very much. I've got a new Mercedes on order this year. They're just finishing the custom paint job on it. No, I have not made that much money, but
hopefully you're not having Brad do the custom paint. Otherwise, you won't have it until 2030.
Right. Yes. Realistic fire. It's going to be NVIDIA green with in realistic fire on it. No, seriously, there was a lot of oversized GPUs. And hey, I warned about this back in 2015 of these ridiculous non-reference coolers, 12 inches long. We had the Zotac Extreme Dash 2UV X Xfinity, whatever, weighing in at 4.5 pounds. Really? Do we really need to have a cooler this big? But in the meantime, tons of people bought them and bought our support brackets. Now, I heard somebody. Is that Daz? Hey, buddy. Good to see you.
Hello, everybody.
Good to see you, man. So, Daz, we invited you in because you're in the chat, and we haven't had you in here for a while. Daz, worst of 2016, other than politics. Let's leave the politics out today, but what was your worst?
For me, it was a P5 case from Thermotech. But I wouldn't call it like worst only. It was one of the most exciting cases, and at the same time it was a most annoying thing that I ever seen, because by the end of the year I'm seeing so many builds which look like twin brothers, so I'm ready to puke when I see the new one popping up. So, and I built myself one of them, so it was a hate-love relationship for sure. And it was very interesting thing, because I don't know, did they copy anybody with this one, or it was an original invention? I don't even know.
Oh, well, Mas and I don't know if he'll cop up to it today, but when we've got the first Leon Lee sample of the wall hanging chassis, what is that now, Mas, 3 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, what is the and off the top, I think they're called like the
PC05S, PC06, PC07.
Yeah, 3 different sizes, and that was the year that the Modzu staff actually went to CES when they launched that. To me, when that Thermotech came out with that P5, it echoed what Leon Lee had done. It's not a direct copy, but it just, to me, it was influenced by it.
It definitely looked a lot more like the Lian Li prototypes that they released, because I remember, I don't know if anybody remembers when they were showing, because they were showing pictures of the wall builds or the wall PCs, wall chassis, whatever, before they actually started releasing them for market. And there was a lot of people that were giving them feedback, which was really cool, because a lot of the people were like, hey, where are we going to be able to put any dust filters? Like, you're going to get a ridiculous amount of dust. I'm like, well, it's open chassis aside. So they added front and back and sort of top and bottom panels. But before that, it looked a lot like what the P5 looks like now. So it was kind of like, they just saw the prototype and ran with it or something.
I like the idea of an open chassis that's, it's vertically mounted like that. And because it's really a showpiece of all your hardware. You get to see everything. And we spend so much money on our hardware, and especially our video cards. Why not be able to see it, right? And I like that aspect of it. I wanted to ask you, Daz, a lot of people experience problems with the PCI riser cable extension in the P5. Did you experience those?
Well, for me, it was total nightmare, because I was building this computer for my client, which I usually don't do. But from time to time, people like forcing me to build something. And if set of parts kind of interesting thing for me, I just make a YouTube series out of it. And I build computer for free, but I get my video out of it. So this kind of deal. So that was a customer build. So I feel a little bit more responsible for hardware parts and things like this. And I test the system. It works fine. I build the entire water cooling setup, like filmed few episodes, powering it up, and freaking nothing. It doesn't even boot, right? So, and I totally panic. It's like, okay, so what? I'm on a hook now to pay for this guy 980 Ti plus motherboard plus this, and like, what's going on? So it was pretty unpleasant situation, and I spent 2 hours troubleshooting it. I removed all my sleeved cables. Whole setup was torn apart, nothing. And I just said, like, screw it, I go home, whatever, right? So I left home, and somebody posted on my YouTube channel, totally independently, like, oh, by the way, did you get any trouble with the Razer cable? And I'm like, what? So, and we talked to that guy, and he said, by the way, they have defective Razer cable, and it behaves really weirdly. So your Windows doesn't boot. It's not like your monitor doesn't work. It's the whole system kind of locked up. And apparently insulation was bad on electrical wires, and because it's a high bandwidth type of cable things, so if you have a electromagnetic situation not taken care well, things get interfered so badly that the whole computer kind of crashing. So, and the solution that they offered was shorter version with better insulation. So that's how they worked it out. So I'm personally got hit really hard with that, with a few unpleasant like hours of trying to figure out what's going on here. And as soon as I took this cable out, put it in a garbage, and put GPU straight into the slot, gone. Everything works fine.
So he never utilized the riser cable of that build then, huh?
Well, just to be fair, I emailed Thermotech and I said, hey guys, I'm building for somebody else. I don't have any proof of purchasing crap like this. But it seems like your Razer cable doesn't work. Although it was discovered in January. I was building in July, and it's supposed to be all new shipments supposed to be fixed, right? But somehow they continue to use old stock or continue to ship defective cables. But to be fair to Thermotech, they replied to me and say, hey, yeah, we'll send you a new cable, no problem. And they send me new cable, which I own now. But my client said, like, screw it. I don't like trust a second to this technology anymore. So I don't want to showcase my GPU. I don't care. Redesign entire loop and put GPU straight, so you can't see GPU like showcased anymore. But I don't want to deal with this crap. I hang the bloody thing on a wall, and I don't want to touch it for 3 years. So I have to scrap all my design, redo all tubing, which was hard tubing and not that easy as, let's say, soft tubing. So it was a lot of work involved. That build was cool, but left a little bit unpleasant taste in my mouth because I have to basically build it twice from scratch because whole layout of tubing was just thrown to garbage.
Yeah, I noticed that too in the way they designed it. But I wasn't surprised. I'm not a big fan of Thermaltake, and I've said that for years. They're a great example of somebody that kind of wants to cash in on a trend, a style trend.
Yes, Thermaltake, basically, they just scanning everything for cool ideas, and they have enough financial power to make it happen. Right. So let's say, like you and me, we can come up with freaking genius product, and everybody will be raving about it. But we reach in our pocket, and it's like $10 there, right? And after that, Thermaltake like pulling like pile of like case of like cash and like whatever will make it happen, and they can happen very fast. So I see very significant negative part of it because it hurts small manufacturers and smaller companies who try to make a living. But on a grander scale, I also agree with a lot of users, which I don't share that opinion, but at the same time, like end users kind of benefiting because, they make mass production of cool stuff. Also, it's stolen, but nevertheless, right?
Well, as small manufacturers, both you and I, the only advantage we have is we have innovation on our side, and we've got like a head start, right? We can at least get our product out, maybe 6 months.
Absolutely, earlier, I agree with you. Like shops like yours or mine, or even Case Labs, who's kind of bigger than us, but we're like sharks, right? So the shark doesn't move and goes to the bottom, right? So you have to move. So until you swim, you stay alive. As soon as you stop, you're dead. You get eaten by like everybody else. That's for sure. But it seems like I'm kind of a little bit plugged into all this water cooling stuff, and it seems like Thermaltake is so serious about water cooling. So I don't know if I can ignore them next year because they're hiring like people who was in that business for a long time,
engineers to specialize just in that.
Yeah, there's the people who actually understand because they up to 2016, that which in other what the hell or whatever worst. Who hell still makes aluminum radiators?
Oh my gosh.
The Thermaltake, right? But they hired a team of people who actually was plugged in water cooling, and they're getting like ripping off, as I understood, all this aluminum nonsense. So it will be a new line of radiators, like made of everybody else. I'm not saying it will be something genius, but But they're very serious into getting into that slice of pie, and I think that guys like EK, Beats Power, or everybody else would have some competition next year, as I see it. So
well, okay, and they say competition is good, right, everybody? Because it pushes you to innovate. If you're not innovating, you're going to fall behind, and when I hear that Thermaltake, if they want to invest more development into their own liquid cooling products versus just rebranding other companies' stuff, I don't have a problem with that. And
actually, sorry, Bill, to interrupt you, but I also think they very sick skull people, as I understand it. But I think that eventually the message kind of gets through their skulls and on top level that it's not cool like keep like copying everybody's ideas, because you look on Thermaltake. Yeah, look on the Thermaltake. All fittings is like all the EK CSQ line, right? So which probably EK outsourced from somebody, and they just bought it the same place and put Thermaltake name on it. Reservoirs look like XSPC, and I don't know, like the whole thing is just a copy of old models or something else. And I understand that some people want to save some money and buy, but like for me, who into that thing, it's all old crap that not exciting. But as I understood, they actually start making original designs, and if they will go with original designs, and keeping in mind how much money that company has in their pocket comparing with
Mm-hmm.
other guys, it can be a game-changing situation.
Right. Nobody in this market can touch Thermaltake's retail distribution. They were already rooted in retail stores. Their channels of distribution throughout the world is huge. You can't compete against that. Now, if Thermaltake is going to invest in coming up with their own line of decent quality liquid cooling products, and hopefully they won't have gaudy logo designs on it stuff. That's personally, I'm not a fan of big logos on everything. But
I don't think we can avoid that, because
Right,
look on AK, you have this silver thingy everywhere.
Yeah.
They will keep branding the stuff like no
That's
tomorrow.
their opinion. That's like Bits Power's opinion, that they need to put their dragon and their logo on everything. You don't need to do that. Yeah, I understand that you need branding. We can all agree as a manufacturer, but there comes a point when you can be subtle and stylish without having your name in everybody's face. Now, my point about Thermaltake is that with their distribution, if they're going to have decent liquid cooling components on the market, that's going to bring in a wider audience to liquid cooling their computers. And I'm all for that. The more we educate people and the more people we bring into this hobby, it's good. There's so many people that still don't even realize that this hobby exists. And with their distribution channels, it will help bring more exposure to it. So I'm not against that at all.
I'm can't be agree more than, I don't know, 100 times with you, because it's still even bigger names like AK, Bits Power. It's a relatively small companies, small business that are trying to push for the product, and stores like mine, also small businesses trying to promote it with masses. But until somebody big jumps in, like Corsair size, it's never will be mass market. And if such a big company as Thermaltake will promote some cool water cooling stuff, hopefully not 100% stolen from other people, we definitely might have more people get interested in modding and more exciting stuff, not just a cookie cutter type of situation.
Absolutely.
When you slap your all-in-one unit and, that's it. 5-second job.
And you run a store, I run a store. We've been running it for over a decade, both of us. And the reality is, modding as a retail market it's dying. You could even say it's dead. People are not buying just LED fans and PC grills and lights as much as they used to. Liquid cooling has really kept this market going and growing. So any more manufacturers that want to enter this realm and give us more choices, it's all a good thing. Now, on this subject, and we can close it out, otherwise we're going to get deep into this rant. But since Daz is here, there's another thing that him and I have both agreed on, is that the liquid cooling manufacturers that cater to our market, like you just said, EK, Bits Power, I'll add Alpha Cool in there as well,
Water Cool,
the German company. My biggest gripe about these manufacturers, and they're big now, they do not invest enough time in really testing their products before they release them on market, or their quality control still is lacking on a lot of stuff. That I believe that they release stuff way too early before it's been properly tested, and then you, the consumer, are the you're now the test subject for their product. Because, for example, if they launch a new pump or a type of reservoir fitting, we've seen it, Daz, where these products come on the market and they have like these major issues where they're leaking, or just, you guys know it.
Actually, there's two levels of problems here. There's a one level of problems that, yes, they kind of rushing to put something new in, like expand product line, like a case specifically. They're trying to expand so much, and
so fast.
We saw that like they introduced Vardar fans, right? And the entire production was defect, so they have to recall it. And the same with Predator. Predator came out again, was big recall. But like EK, for example, they at least they issued recalls, they paid for shipping expenses. Is of course it's nuisance and it's not right, but at least they took care about the problem. There's a number of other companies, and which I experienced in the past, like for example XSPC, that they have like problematic product, and they keep pumping it. It's like
They
whatever.
don't give a
We have
damn.
like 10% defects. It's okay.
They don't give a damn.
Yeah, well, just people buying it's cheap, so it's like they're refusing to take it, which I was personally against, and I tried to like raise my voice, and I was punished for it. But nevertheless, yeah, this is ridiculous. Some companies is better on the quality, some companies are addressing the quality, some people just let it slide. Doesn't matter. Few guys get screwed. Who cares? I make still sale another 100 units. So this kind of attitude that really make me mad because I think it's hurt the industry I'm personally involved so much.
It shows that they don't even appreciate us. I mean, as a consumer, these people that run these companies, and it's usually one individual, they don't even interact with the community. They just kind of like turn their backs to us. They put out this stuff, and it's either a hit or miss. And they're willing to take that percentage of RMAs just as a part of the process in bringing a new product out. Oh, I see that this is wrong now, so we better address now. But what about all the hundreds of people that already bought it and are stuck with it? You know, that's my problem.
But again, it's not like all black so much. Like, for example, Beats Power, it's crazy expensive, which drives me nuts because they keep increasing prices non-stop, like since I work with them. But the one thing that you can't take from Beats Power specifically is their quality of control for the stuff they're releasing. It's so rare when you have something wrong with Beats Power. It happens from time to time, especially with fittings, because they can't test every fitting. Like it's not practical, right? So sometimes you have maybe leaking fitting, but the other stuff it's so super. I also almost never see any quality issues with water cool. But water cool is like two guys in a barn with a bunch of.
They can't afford to get hit with a huge RMA.
No, but they're really taken care of, right?
Yeah.
That anybody who became a little bit bigger and start outsourcing stuff in China,
they got lazy.
It's just a disaster.
Yeah.
And I involved in this too because I have some ideas. I have zero capability of producing anything really. So I'm trying to outsource it, and China obviously one of the easiest way to do anything. And I have productions coming to my way, 100% garbage, 70% garbage. I just filter it so nobody knows. So I'm just not letting it. I eating all these losses I'm accruing. But the qualities of items coming from China, it's just ridiculous. I don't know. I am get screwed non-stop, or I understand something, but I have a strong feeling that other bigger guys on the market get hit just as bad as I am.
Well, listen, and everybody in the chat, we love you. We're trying to catch up with your comments in here, loving the dialogue. And you just witnessed Daz. He's exercising all of that anger from 2016.
Sorry.
As well. It's good. It's good. This is a therapeutic session for all of us to just exercise these demons out and look at the positive for 2017, right? I want to mention something. You know, what manufacturers do to help keep quality control up and keep the RMAs down is that I know that dealing with case manufacturers, when I do consulting with them, that they actually will train an individual, they'll have an employee from their company that will have an office in the factory next to the factory's quality control department that watches their QC. It's an employee of the manufacturer in the factory that they use watching their quality control to ensure that there is no compromises or changes made, or that's what it's like. That's the reality.
I was told a few times that if you want to do anything with China, you have to hire somebody who sits there and like spanks them non-stop.
That's right. That watches them. Yep, that's absolutely right.
And I know, for example, that Alpha Cool, they actually have their own factories that making radiators. That's why their radiators like relatively you rarely have any quality, like serious quality issues. That's something like totally bent or twisted, or you have a leaking radiator, unlike other places who mostly outsource it, right? So, and yeah, that's the only way. You sit on place, in a place, and you control every step. That's the only way how it works.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So,
But
sorry,
maybe
Drew.
not everybody wants to listen about water cooling, so
Right,
maybe I
right.
should.
That was good.
Maybe I should shut up for a
Right.
change.
We got
go other stuff.
We got Droog and Mosquito here. Mosquito, what is your thoughts on our discussion we just had?
I have no idea.
Oh, come on now. I've witnessed you be disappointed about products when we've gotten samples in and like, oh, really?
Yeah, I know. Probably the most recent example was that ID cooling.
Oh, that's a piece of shit.
Spin on the D frame, but
ID
I don't know.
cooling, yeah, yeah.
Well, guys, if you're out of ideas, I can suggest a couple others.
No, we're not. We'll come back to you.
No, not water cooling. I promise.
Yeah, that's fine. Drew, what is your thoughts?
Well, everyone's going to be, as far as the big companies go, they're going to be trying to help number one, which is never us. I mean, the only time they call us number one is, yeah, we all know that one.
Well, we're just a tiny little nucleus of hardcore enthusiasts that are really driving this hobby in the new directions, and it's the mainstream consumer that matters, not us.
Yeah. And so I think we're just going to end up dealing, and especially in the future here in the next couple of years, we're probably going to see more cases of us being used as their beta testers and getting the crap smoothed out so the mainstream people get to enjoy their end product, and we just get pissed off and wander off into the woods.
Yeah. There's still a lot of innovation going on in people's garages for this hobby. You know, you guys see them in the forums, and some of the guys are here in our chat that have developed new things and eventually do become products to the mainstream because somebody's always lurking and watching, you know?
Yep.
I think you had this episode a few weeks ago about the new ways of modding, new tools in modding, right? And things like 3D printing and other stuff. It seems like really brings it to next level. Not everybody can afford the CNC mill, but cheap 3D printer, you know, with some extra work, you can make parts that you can fake as a metal or paint them, right? And you can create amazing things. I already see a number of builds on Facebook and other places that it's actually stuff 3D printed, but it's painted like metal, and it's look like really, really cool. But really, it's plastic. But you don't know, and it looks absolutely amazing.
Well, here's the thing: the biggest cost in a product is the development, making prototypes. It takes time. You know, the drawings, making that initial part, and then realizing, oh, there's got to be a change here and here. That's where all the big expense is. And 3D printing is taking a huge chunk out of that expense for people that develop stuff, that you can make that prototype right there in your hands. You can actually see and try the fit tolerances in that versus having to make it in a mill and then manually go in there and turn it over, readjust it in a vise to make the other side and all that, which is time consuming. So yeah, it makes perfect sense to have a 3D printer if you do make new products. And also these guys that are artists that are doing these builds. For example, we've got Callan from Envious Mods in here, and he uses a 3D printer to make a lot of his parts and his builds. And he's saving so much money versus going to a machine shop and having, there's a threshold fee of just going in there to have them look at your files, so I was going to pull the finger, I was going to pull the trigger. This Friday, I was actually going to order a 3D printer, the Prusa Mark II, PR USA Mark II, which has gotten rave reviews. You can get the DIY build kit for $6.99 plus $50 shipping from Slovenia, and it's being considered one of the best entry-level 3D printers right now. $700 and you've got a 3D printer. And something else came up that derailed that. But yeah, I realized the benefit of having a 3D printer, and I definitely will be getting one.
Well, there is a lot of negatives too, because I got into that hobby, so to speak, at the end of the year as well. And the amount of time I'm blowing this stuff without any results is just staggering. It's not as easy as it might be seen if you see people showing YouTube videos and everything. But before you make anything works, you will pulling your hair out like for a while. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, getting them dialed in the first time especially is always the worst, because you've got to tweak all 3 axes, and then you've got to work on the heating element, get that set just right, get the speed of the feed going in just right, and yeah, it's no end to the issues from what I understand with the
and yes, and on top of that, when you dial it in and you work for a little bit, it's not very sturdy construction usually, so it gets disbalanced pretty fast. So you just you print a little bit fine, and then things go bad, and you just dial again. And it's an endless vicious cycle that make you the person a little bit unstable psychology, like myself. Like I'm just ready to take it and throw it into the window, right, on a regular basis. So it's.
There is no, well, from what I understand too, and even this the Prusa Mark II is that it's not perfect, but for $700 for what it can do, it is that right now. It's like that's the landmark right now in the hobbyist 3D printing market. That's setting the landmark right now at this point. At that price point for what you can expect from a 3D printer should be on par with that model. But even I've seen reviews where it's still messed up prints,
Well, listen, I actually going to make YouTube video about this, so I don't want to talk too much. But I can tell you that whatever you expect will be difficult about 3D printing, it will be 10 times worse. That's I guarantee.
All right, okay, Daz. Before you go, what was the best of 2016?
Oh wow, that you caught me off guard, because I get all mad about everything and I didn't think well about it. Well, listen, I was actually pleasantly surprised, because I think in the beginning of the year or mid of the year we have a little bit of stagnation. I didn't saw much cool builds, to be honest with you. And just now before CES, it was number of people posting such a staggering and very interesting things that you never saw before. And so I think that we see that new interest and new fresh blood coming into our hobby, who will be able to, make a really fresh, cool start for 2017. And I know, Bill, you said we kind of dead business, but I don't think we're not dead. Not dead at all.
We're not dead.
Like new troops coming, and we will have a lot of exciting stuff.
No. What I mean by that is that PC case modding, what the hobby started out as, and the products that sold, those products don't sell anymore. And you and I are still here because we're innovating and watching the market and the trends, and we're trying to cater to them, versus just stocking our stores with the same stuff that anyone else would have in their store. That's where it becomes very hard to compete, and you're just competing against free shipping deals or sales and stuff like that. But
also, the situations that people have to mod the cases was the reason that the cases was really bad.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
And finally, after 10 years in business of enthusiast computing, those computer manufacturers, they actually start making decent cases.
Yes. Here's the thing, and Moss has heard me bitch about this. Well, I'm disappointed about it, is that nobody wants to buy power tools, pick up power tools, and learn them like they did when I first got in this hobby. They just want things that just all you need is a screwdriver to put it on. And And
Well, listen, mainstream will be always like this. You can't even bitch about it. Most people are lazy and not sophisticated enough to do anything.
Right.
So people who really want to go into serious stuff, it's a hobby that limited to a small number of people, like it or not.
Right. But what makes me sad, and this goes back to the pimp rig days that Drew and I often reflect on as in our old age, is that there was, when we first got in this hobby, there was that excitement of watching people just cut up stuff and recreate something out of just a beige box, because that's what got me into this hobby. That was the initial drive into this hobby. And now that that's really disappeared from like the mainstream,
I think it will be morph, because before, all you need, you take your saw and your I don't know, drill, and you make holes and stuff like this, and you have a basic case which basically was a box out of steel or whatever, and you try to make it better. Now you have a decent cases, but look, 3D printing one thing, but now I see they now have a laser engraving machines for $300, and you have SNC mills for $500. And for computer modding, you don't need to make big parts. Actually, you might have all this new wave of tools that will move what it's used to be with the simple tools on kind of next level, because I could love to have a laser engraving machine to make like cool logos or whatever graphics on the side panels or anything. So I don't cut case anymore, but I still can modify it. It's really deeply with all these new technologies that are available.
Right. I do think what's going to happen with our market too, as you know, this equipment that was out of our reach financially is becoming more accessible. Now you can build your own CNC router under $1,000. Is what people should do if they want to try to make money from this hobby, is start creating parts and selling the drawings for different custom parts that people can just,
that's business. This business already pretty big, because when I started looking into 3D printing stuff, I found that my biggest weakness that I actually am not a 3D designer. Luckily, I have a customer who is like professional to that, and he helped me with certain things. But if you, the guy who just bought 3D printer and has no clue about 3D software, not able to create anything in that 3D software, you basically have to fall on this free stuff that you available in internet, and that stuff on internet is utter crap.
Well, and also people, especially if it's going to be replacement type parts, they're not going to make the proper measurements all the time. These are just hobbyists that are uploading and sharing this stuff.
Yeah.
Not necessarily they're not engineers. They're not using the right type of software to make the drawings. And you're going to run into that. That's the same thing with SketchUp. You got to always don't rely on the guy that uploaded it. You're going to want to make all the measurements first, just to confirm that it's correct.
Yeah, exactly. But what I try to finish my thought is there's also a number of websites who's selling high quality 3D designs for money.
Yeah.
Right. So if you don't want to spend money, all you can do is download junk from internet and print that junk, right? So and be happy about it. But if you want any cool figurine or just a part number or some practical device that actually decently made, here you go. You pay $50, you get your
right.
file.
And with our hobby, other than Callan from Envious Mods, that does a lot of drawings, and maybe a handful of other people in the chat. There's not really anything for our hobby, is there, guys, for 3D printed stuff that you can download? Well, I saw Darth Beavis posted those PTG tubing benders a week ago from one of the 3D print sites. I can't remember the name of it, but that's a pretty simple thing. A 3D a pipe.
Simple shapes, simple shapes. Yeah. But even if you don't know how to use engineering 3D software, it still can be an impossible task for you.
Right. Yeah. So, all right. So let's try to focus before we go here on the positives and our outlook on 2017. Moss, Give us some positives, man.
I don't know. I mean, we've kind of covered a lot of ground, so it's kind of tough.
How about AMD? Hope.
Yeah, there's hope there. We'll find out soon enough. Hopefully, we'll get a little bit more competition on the hardware component side of things. But I don't know. I hope that there's a little bit more involvement this year, because I noticed, at least at the Mod Zoo, the forums were picking up quite a bit towards the end of the year. Like, there was a lot more activity than I think even last year. So I guess I'm hopeful that things continue on that to hopefully give us a little bit more of a push through 2017. And I don't know, I think it's always interesting to see what other people are up to. So I guess the one thing that I would hope for the most is more people sharing what they're doing.
Well, yeah, we've been preaching about how important a community forum is in this typhoon of social media that's engulfing all of us, and how important it is, if you're going to do a project, to share it on a community forum, whether it be the zoo or any community forum, versus just Facebook and a Facebook group or your Facebook wall. Get outside of those walls and share it in the public so it can be archived and discovered. Which Droog has taught us a lot about, how important it is to archive stuff so it can be discovered many years from now when you want to refer back to something.
Oh yeah, I really cannot stop impressing upon people now, especially after the deep dives that I tried making into archive.org to resurrect some old projects for people. You want to make sure that you've got multiple archives of your stuff. If you have your own website or your own server that you're renting time on, make sure that you're paying well out in advance, and that you've got other options.
Do it. That's the best advice we can give all of you that are watching this. And this is obviously going to get posted to our YouTube channel, so it's going to be archived and discovered at some point. I cannot stress as well. If you want to get into pro modding and get sponsorship and then have a build at CES or one of these tech shows or PAX or whatever, you've got to have your own website in addition to using Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Because you've got to have your stuff archived and found out there in Google searches and Bing as well. I want to, which reminds me, one of my worst of 2016 is when PC Gamer bought Maximum PC's online content, and I don't know what happened to it. It disappeared. All of the articles that were shared from the magazine on their site, all of the blog entries, all of the news archives, all that gone, disappeared. MaximumPC.com has been gone for months. And what moron made the decision not to keep that stuff public? Because that was driving in referral traffic of people looking up that stuff in searches. And Maximum PC has been around a long time, and all that is gone. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know, man. To me, that's the worst of 2016. Somebody's decision not to have all that content public access to it. Where is it? Where did it go? Why? I mean, was it some type of business decision that you thought that it would hurt you to still have traffic go to that site? I don't get it. Baffled by that. So,
well, I'd like to bring up a little bit of an opposite to that. Is we've finally gotten a hold of some of the files from Pimprig, and I've been going through some of those galleries. It's a trip. There's a lot of stuff that I need to figure out how I'm going to handle the sorting in order to make it easier to go through, but it's a memory trip. That's really the best way to describe it. I'm looking
forward to seeing it. I mean, so you're going to set up a gallery format. We're going to install some type of gallery so we can.
Yeah, I'm gonna. What it looks like I need to do is there's a bunch of empty folders that it looks like Gary had set up for specific users that just didn't populate anything for the gallery. And so, yeah, I'm going to work with Kyle, and we're going to figure out, I guess, just eliminate all of the empty stuff. And I'm trying to figure names, attach names to things, but the brain just doesn't work as well as it used to. But
Well,
if we can set up a generic gallery with the stuff that's actually populated with
and we will.
images.
At least we have it now. And we were working with Gary on bringing up, uploading all these archives. And Gary got hit with a tragedy.
Yeah.
His father passed away. And apparently he may have had a heart attack or something, but he went off the road and his car hit a building. And I mean, just a massive tragedy. So, and when Gary decides that he wants to get back into this again when he's ready, we're here for him to help him out. But I mean, just 2016, I mean, tragedies. Just, you know, I one of my good friends, Lisa O'Connor, passed away last year. Hopefully we're past this, and that 2017 is going to keep taking away all these icons for us. Anyways, but we're trying to work with Gary to bring back all that archive content.
Yeah.
So I don't want to get depressed here.
Well,
Best-
I was going to say what I'm looking forward to as a best of for this coming year is I want to see, looking right now at my case, I've got two GeForce 1070s sitting there, and I've heard heavy rumors that they're announcing the TI series of the 10XX cards, and I hear a lot of great things about Vega. I want to see the fist fights. I want to see them trying to one up each other in the testing arenas and showing off brand new technologies and just dragging our noses into the races again and making these cards much more affordable as a result.
Mas, are you thinking what I'm thinking?
That I can't find the stupid unmute button.
That's what in addition to that, as Drew talks about his shiny new video cards.
I don't buy shiny new video cards.
I'll get around to water cooling them eventually, Bill. Piss off.
I wasn't going to bring it up.
Yes, you have everything you need. You just need to get out into the garage once the snow melts and start building that. We've been pushing Drew to do his first DIY liquid cooled rig, and he's going to use PTG hardline and stuff like that. So,
what was it I jokingly said the other day though? With the fresh snows that we've got, I can artisanally cool it.
Yeah.
Snow cone cool.
So is there anything interesting that you've seen in the chat that we should bring up here before we close out? Yes, everybody, a lot of hope for AMD and the Ryzen processor. I must reveal that I am secretly hoping that it runs really hot so it helps our industry even more in liquid cooling components for it. I hate to say it, but hot products help sales of stuff. So,
well, as I was saying beforehand, if what they're saying is accurate, it'll probably run hot anyway, because they were bragging about the fact that if it detects a better cooler, or if it feels like it can keep pushing the thermal threshold, it's going to. So people are going to want to water cool their processors to get the best out of them.
Mm-hmm. Brian T in the chat, the Be Quiet 900 Pro case, we had Chris from Be Quiet in our last episode. Yes, it's a great, the modularity of being able to invert the motherboard, rise and lower the motherboard if you're going to have a radiator in your ceiling. I'd like to see more manufacturers do that. And people have said, and I think we even brought this up when he was on here, is that other than Case Labs, there really isn't another chassis on the market that allows you to do that, right? No. Not that I know of. I mean, other than Case Labs case.
Yeah, that's pretty much it that I've seen.
Yeah. Watch about a year from now, you'll probably see somebody else. Oh, Be Quiet's getting some action. We got to try to cash in on that. Right? And Moss, you were talking to somebody in the chat in regards to the Leon Lee that we mentioned, and they were saying that water cooling wasn't feasible in that series, but that's not true, right?
Right. Yeah, well, some of them were and some of them weren't. I know I can't remember exactly what they called them, but it was like the PC 05 wasn't, and then the 05S was, or the other way around or something. I don't remember how it was, but I definitely got a 240 and was able to water cool both graphics card and CPU in the 05S that I reviewed. But I think a lot of it is just some of us are getting spoiled. Like, I haven't had to cut a hole in a case to mount a radiator yet.
Oh.
Well, I guess technically okay, so most of my stuff is scratch built, so I put the hole wherever I need it anyway. But like, I think my NZXT case, the only thing I had to do was cut a hole in a drive cage to make room for the plenum on the radiator, and then drill some holes because they didn't line up with the radiator. But I don't know. I think there's a lot of options these days to water cool without having to actually cut anything or make anything
We're
work.
spoiled. We are so
Yeah.
spoiled. SNAF, do you prefer SNAF or SNEF? I'm not sure. But he mentioned that the hex gear chassis allows you to mount reverse or standard in that. So there's a bit of modularity there.
So did that Origin, but don't. The Origin Genesis.
Yeah, gang. That's another one. Origin PC, their own, their Millennium and Genesis full tower chassis allows you to invert the motherboard, but it is a complete fiasco.
It's not designed to rearrange. It's designed to be built that way from the factory. So you want it arranged this way, okay, it'll come from the factory like that. We're not going to tear it apart and redo it because it's a lot of work.
No, I'm sure Origin would urge their customers to put it back in the crate and send it back to them if they want to change the setup in there. It's that, it's confusing.
Yeah.
Different types of metric screws and
it's not always intuitive either. Like, okay, so why can't we get this one thing? Oh, because you have to remove the screw that holds the PCI, PCI slot cover in place because it hits on this thing. Oh my God, really?
Yeah, it was intense. I recall I had that thing dismantled for 3 days when I went to change it around.
It was fun though.
It was fun. It was fun to tackle that. We were the first people to actually get the opportunity to do that.
Here's to MZ3 in 2017.
Think so? I don't know if I'm going to have the time.
I don't have time to do my own damn projects.
I don't know, man. I've almost got here, like first day of the new year. I've already got a packed schedule of builds for this year, of builds that are going to be planned, and I'm excited about them. Of course, I got to get my own build done, but. Anyways, also we hope to in 2017 to keep doing this hangout every Sunday with all you guys. Today's chat's been awesome, just watching you guys go back and forth in here. And I really want to, one thing is when I propose this topic, and again, it's so many websites do the best of 2016. Yeah, it's your advertisers, right? That you're, pimping their products. A lot of people were hesitant to get involved with this, I think, because they're worried about burning bridges with manufacturers. Because, you look at a lot of these project logs and people are like, they've got multiple sponsors now. You see a build and it's got like, you can back this up, Moss, like 6, 8, 10 different sponsors on one build. You know?
It's like, sometimes you wonder too, it's like, man, is your power company sponsoring you too? Like, is there anything you're paying for on this? Or is it just, it's like, holy crap.
And I ranted about it in our Best of What the Hell podcast toward the end, is that the amount of builds I'm seeing of lists of sponsors, like on NASCAR, the sponsor names on a build, it's like, oh man. I think it's just you don't need to put their names on everything. That's just me. I think that your build on its own, if it's done well, it will hold up without having to list all your sponsors on there. That's just me, gang. I know what you're saying, but Bill, you're on there too, Bill. Yeah, I am. It's just me.
Yeah, but Bill, why bother having a paint job when you can just put all of the little labels all over your case?
Yeah, I know. It's just my personal opinion. But anyway, my point is that some people were hesitant to get involved with saying their best and worst of. And what I don't want the Mod Zoo is, one thing you notice about the Mod Zoo gang is that there's no advertisement banners on the site. There hasn't been since we started, other than a link to my store, because I am one of the founders, and that's I pleaded with the other founders to allow me to do that, and they kindly obliged. But I don't want our community become like dictated by sponsors. Because then what happens is that you're not hearing genuine opinions about stuff. Some people are afraid to say that they had a bad experience with something because someone may read it and get upset, like the rep that they deal with to get the stuff from, and I don't want the Hangout to become that. We've never, other than Droog's pimp my business once in a while, I don't come in here and really pimp it, do I, guys? Am I pimping my business too much? I don't even have my banner on today, because I am a lover of this hobby as well. It's just not how I make my living, but I also love doing this hobby and doing these builds. And as an enthusiast, I like to know what the good products are and what the shitty ones are based on your opinion of using them. So I just want to try to keep the Hangout going that direction. And I can see today that the guys that are in here in the chat, they respect and appreciate that, because they're enthusiasts as well, and a lot of these guys are either pro modders, sponsored modders, or affiliated with different businesses in this industry. So it's important to them to, keep this hobby honest and transparent. So I'll get off my soapbox. That's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, here at the Mod Zoo, we don't really care who you are as long as you're modding something and sharing it with us.
Yeah,
that's about it.
Yeah, and Moss, I want to thank you, Drew, everybody in the chat. Mosquito has been our ambassador for everyone who's joined the Mod Zoo community forum. Their first post, you're going to see Mosquito respond to them and welcome them, or give them just words of encouragement and give them feedback. Mosquito's been doing this since day one while we're off doing our other stuff. Mosquito's in there watching over the forum while we're busy. So thank you, Mosquito, for all your hard work.
I'm the first one to go. I'm the first one to go run to Kyle. Kyle, shit's broken. Shit's broken. Oh my God, it's everywhere.
Renew our license. Yeah, we need it. If you didn't do that, who would do it? It's hard. It's hard to be in there. So, you're not getting paid for it.
Nope.
Nope, you're not getting paid for it. So, you do it because you love the hobby. That's your investment into it. So, all right. Anything else before we close out, gang?
Well, I've been loving watching the back and forth. I think this is the busiest that the chat's been during one of our hangouts.
I was thinking that too.
Yeah,
awesome.
Yes,
yeah, it's
indeed.
good to see you guys. Please, everybody, we don't preach, share the Hangout. We really don't. Sometimes we mention it, but if you liked tonight, the dialogue that went on, please share it on your Facebook wall or tweet it, and help get the word out. Part of me thinks that if we get too popular, then we're going to start getting dictated by different things. Do you know what I mean by that?
Nah.
No, you don't think so? maybe
No,
it's just
I
me.
mean, to me, this has largely been, at least the episodes that I've been in, it's mostly, to me, just some time to hang out with some friends. So like, I don't I don't usually come into these with an agenda. Like I don't really come in and say, hey, I want to talk about this, I want to talk about that, because I want to talk about this because I'm doing that or whatever.
Well, Moss, you've always been really neutral on things, and I do enjoy when you do get upset with something and bitch about it, because you don't do it that often. So when you do it, it's genuine.
That was weird.
You're pretty neutral. What?
You're gonna have to repeat that last little bit, Bill. He dropped out.
Yeah, it was weird because although I'm sitting on my computer and I've been constantly moving the mouse, I just got a message from Google Hangout saying that I've been kicked from the call because my computer went to sleep.
Well, what I was saying is that, Moss, you've always been pretty neutral. You're like, I don't know. You like to keep everything even keel with everybody. And so when you do bitch about something, I enjoy seeing it because you don't do it that often. So also it kind of like, if you're bitching about something, then there's something legitimately up with that. And another thing I like about you, when you're ready to bitch, you don't give a fuck. You don't care. It's like,
it's because by the time I reach that point, I'm beyond caring.
yeah. I mean, so, and that's good. I mean, you got to have a variety of opinions to keep things interesting. If we all agreed on the same thing, it would just get boring. Captain Curry Sauce and I have said that often. If we just can't agree on everything, so
that's what makes it fun.
Yeah,
for everybody else anyway.
And also, good news is that again, the Modzu guys are going to CES this year. Captain Curry Sauce and Greg and Alex are all going, and they're going to be meeting with some manufacturers. There's a possibility that they may be going to Alpha Cool's suite. And this is the first year that Alpha Cool's ever been at CES, so that should be interesting. Alpha Cool's got that new alternative to the Lang D5 pump that came out. What's the deal with that? About time that Lang has a competitor. I've gotten sick and tired of it only being D5s or DDCs, and
as long as it works.
Yeah, as long as it works and you don't gouge me for it, Well,
staying with the same style of mounts would be a nice thing too, not having to invest in a 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th mounting plate.
Yeah, Alpha Cool Pump. What is that? There's a blog write-up by Eel on Hank's site. Moss, could you pull that up? If performance PCs, if you enter what keywords to enter in for this new pump from Alpha Cool, that's a competitor to the D5 by Lang, that's been our standard for well over a decade.
That's a ridiculous German names that nobody can pronounce.
Oh yeah, that's right. Daz, do you sell Alpha Cool stuff?
Yes.
Yeah, you do. So what is this new pump? Give us the details on it.
Well, it's a new pump basically that has a housing the same as D5, so you can use all tops that was designed for D5 form factor, but inside it's totally different. It's more like a fan hub type of motor inside.
Has anybody used the Coolant's, what is it, the PMP 500 here? It's a
really big one.
Big, loud, ridiculous pressure, but it's got the same sort of an impeller arrangement that does.
Well, the thing is, as long as we have a new product, it's cool. With my personal experience with China, because it's made in China, we'll see what's reliability will be.
What isn't made in China, Daz?
Well, for example, Lang pumps.
Slabs, is it?
Well, Lang pumps is not made in China. They're made in Eastern Europe, Hungary.
Mm-hmm.
So even some Chinese water cooling shops, they even import from Europe, right? And they even put it like, made in Europe. So Lang is still golden standard. So the new pump is attractive because the form factor is exactly the same. It's much lower power.
Oh.
And but inside it's totally different construction, and the reliability needs to be seen.
Like
Some people will buy it. Some people buy it, people use it. If it works fine, great. If it start breaking up in 3 months, who knows, right? And right now I have no information. I only have one sample. I fully break it apart to look what's inside. That's about it.
There, Moss, do you remember that site I shared with you where the guy does an overview and he takes it apart, and he's some just independent guy got one and took it apart?
I don't remember what the new one was. No, it was the
thermal bench.
Yeah, Thermal Bench, the guy where
Yeah.
he's got all the nice photos of it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
and what you're saying, Daz, is that it just hasn't been out in the wild long enough to really see overall.
Well, it
you know,
was literally
reliability.
released 1 month ago. All right.
Yeah,
So
1
I
month
don't
ago.
know who bought it. I think Performance PC sells it, and probably somebody else sells it. I don't even have it in stock because I don't want to be always guinea pig, right? So I
Right.
let
Well,
other
you don't want to
people.
be the one that has to deal with the RMAs because there wasn't enough time done in testing it.
Yeah, so it's not that dramatically cheaper to be like jumping on around, but it has certain interesting features because it's a mix of PWM version and variable version. So you can have both. You have a variable dial that you can turn, like resistor thing, right? Or you can control it with a PWM signal, which is kind of cool. It has very nice housing. So a lot of interesting things. But again, old one, it was a piece of magnet floating in a liquid on the ceramic ball. This one is like a plastic shaft and a magnet that like rotating jet shaft. So the question is, will the shaft wear off or not? And long term, I mean, right? So, and I don't think they will see real results till maybe springtime when people
have used them.
will potentially can report some problems, or they will not. And if it works great, come on, cool, we have a new interesting pump.
Well, an alternative. Now, is there any chance that they infringed on a patent at all?
Inside, it's not even close
Okay,
to
all
T5.
right.
It just only patent. I don't think you can argue form factor, but inside it's not even close.
Okay.
It's very misleading to call it D5 pump because it's not.
Okay. Okay, and the pressures, how much lower is the pressure compared to a D5?
Oh, I didn't went into that many details. I was really curious to see how it's made. So as I said, I completely like break it apart and that look what motor is and everything. And there are no word on circuit board, so I don't even know who it make.
Okay,
but it says design in Germany, made in China. That's all.
All right. So you haven't used it yet. You've only taken it apart.
No, I didn't even put it on water. No.
Okay. Well, I'd be curious to hear how loud it is as well once it's running, compared to a D5.
That discussion I don't understand completely because I never can hear D5, right? And I have customers who swear that they can't sleep because of D5. So I don't know. I'm either deaf or whatever going on. But D5, it's like so quiet. So I don't understand what's more benefit you can push from there.
Well, hearing, our ears are all subjective, right? I mean, we hear different things. So it all depends on who the user is.
I think it's more question if it's properly bled or not, because any small amount of water increase the amount of noise.
Yeah.
And so if it's completely out of air, it's not audible. It's very little hum that you can't hear more than like 3 feet away. So
what is the model? Moss, were you able to find it or not? The model?
It's the AlphaCool VPP 755.
Can you screen share it?
Maybe.
Yeah, interesting to see how much money, how much it'll post it on Performance PCs.
Let's see. On Performance PCs, it's $72.50 in US dollars. So it's really no different price wise.
So that's the thing, right? So you have an unproven. I'm not bashing anybody. Let's be clear here, right? But I'm just trying to be relatively like protective, let's say, my own rig, right? So I pay 30 extra bucks for length that guaranteed almost no break, or have a new cool pump for 30 bucks less. So is it deal breaker or not? If it would be 50 bucks, maybe I will be more leaning try to see if it works. But now I personally prefer to see how pump will perform on the field, and there any problems coming out, because it's new product. New product always have some quirks to work out.
Yeah. So Masa's got it up on his screen, and I mean, Daz, you've heard me in the past bitch about Lang being the only supplier. You know.
The funny thing is they're not even a supplier for water cooling. They make those pumps mostly for medical, automobile manufacturing, things like that. They don't even give a damn about like computer motors.
No, I know. We're
it just happens we use it, right? So,
and I think that's what bummed me about them is like when I've looked at the wholesale pricing, I always felt it was just too much even at wholesale. But they look at our market just not really viable to them. You know, when let's say it's a company that does like custom bathrooms for houses, and you have like some type of, I don't know.
Yeah, it's very small. I deal with Lang directly, and if I go to their office and warehouse, they have a pumps size of the house inside of like their facility. So they sell pumps that serve like entire small communities. So this is a massive manufacturing engineering company that make really serious stuff. And all this Lang business, I mean, like all this DDC and D5 is somewhere like in a dark corner, little side gig.
Right. It's not a priority to them. I know that.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. So we can look forward to seeing where that goes in 2017, the new competitor to Lang by AlphaCool. So we can go ahead and close out. We went 26 minutes over, and it was a great hangout tonight. And continue posting anything that you want to just let out or share about 2016. It is officially beyond us now, so which is good news.
Well, so our very first podcast of the new year, we gave you a little bit of bonus time, so right on. Usual spiel, go to www.themodzu.com and you can find links out to all of our sociopathic, our social media life. We've got Twitter, we've got Facebook, we've got Google Plus. We haven't gotten into any of the other stuff, Instagram or any of that, but yeah, we figured we'll let you guys do that.
We're not going to.
No. I mean, what are we going to do? We're going to share all your crap anyway and take credit for it. So you better get out there first.
Right.
So what I want to say is, especially after the last couple of days here, I'm probably going to be modding my snowblower and adding a couple of blades to the side to cut through some snowbanks, because it was kind of rough the last few days. So we want you guys to go out there, figure out that's something that's been annoying you, that's been slowing you down, chop it up, paint it up, make it better, make it yours. Just get out there and mod something. Would you guys have a good week, and we'll see you next week.
See ya.
Adios.